Hi, this is Brenda Lee, and you're listening to U.S. Modernist Radio.
Mama don't allow no architecture around here. Mama don't allow no architecture around here. Oh, I don't care what Mama don't allow, gonna draw mine modern anyhow. Mama don't allow no architecture around here.
Welcome to U.S. Modernist Radio, where we talk and laugh with people who enjoy, own, create, dream about, preserve, love, and hate modernist architecture, the most exciting and controversial buildings in the world. I'm Tom Guild, and once again, it's our Christmas show. And what better subject to talk about during the holidays than modernist bliss? Joining us today is Charlotte, North Carolina architect and author Toby Witte, and later not one but two holiday musical guests with his new Christmas album, Michael Sinatra. Then we'll chat with Peter Lamb about the new holiday album on the way from his band, Peter Lamb and the Wolves. And although Santa has to work extra hard to get into George's modernist house, there's no chimney. Here's your ho-ho-ho host, Mr. Modernism, George Smart.
Thanks, Tom.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I must say, Santa is a good sport. Each year he has to press our doorbell, one of those Ring cameras that you can also talk through. We pretend not to know who he is and ask the same kind of questions when we see strangers come to the door. Like, what organization is he with? Does he have ID?
He has a beard.
Did he see the no soliciting sign? It never gets old. It's a good thing my wife and I stay on the nice list every year, so Santa does keep on coming. Fun fact, his favorite cookie is the Girl Scout Samoas, so support your local Girl Scout troop. We've been buying from the same girl for years. She's probably 30 now. She emails me with the precision of a SpaceX rocket launch on the same day each year, and by dinner time, the cookies are at the door. That's most impressive. U.S. Modernist Radio is underwritten by Diane Bald and the Budman family, restoring significant architecture in Toronto, Los Angeles, Malibu, and Palm Springs.
Toby Witte is a Charlotte-based architect and the founder of Witte House, a firm devoted to building luxury, energy-efficient custom homes. Toby is of German heritage and was born in Peru. He studied architecture in Germany before landing at UNC Charlotte for a master's. He is a 2018 public winner of the George Matsumoto Prize, the highest honor exclusively for modernist houses in North Carolina. And Toby's houses have been featured in Dwell, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. He's the author of the new book, Supersizing Bliss, How We Have Betrayed Our Homes and the Happiness We Seek. Let's find out more. Welcome, Toby. Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you very much. Same to you. I appreciate you having me here. I got the eggnog with me here. Fire's going.
Chestnuts roasting.
That's right.
Toby, before we get started, let's talk soccer, or what they call everywhere else outside of America, football. You're a huge soccer fan. What's the status of soccer in the U.S. these days?
Oh, well, I'm a lifelong Charlotte FC fan. That means we've had season tickets for the last 2 years. I think that, definitely with Messi coming into the league this year, it has changed quite a bit, the attention and the quality and just the overall kind of feel about it all.
Now, as an architect, have you found any modernist soccer stadiums to go visit?
Well, definitely. I mean, the world over, there's some amazing stadiums out there, and there are a few cool ones in the United States, too.
Are there some specifically you can share with us you've been to?
The last one I saw was one actually in Louisville, Kentucky. I just drove by it from the outside, but it's a really fascinating structure that has quite a modern and little bit of industrial kind of feel to it, and looks very exciting.
Now, tell me about your YouTube series, Monday Morning Mischief.
Yeah, I don't know when I started, at a good year ago or so. I'm now at episode, past 70. And what I'm trying to do, those are short little videos, maybe 3 minutes long or so. And I essentially just try to answer questions my clients have and or things that I'm interested in the moment and just want to share. And so I'll try to make it fun and quick. Just something that my clients or prospective clients, anybody really interested in modern architecture or modern homes can find an interest in.
So what are some of the questions that people ask?
Yeah, well, there's there's the basics of just about the process, essentially. How much does it cost? How long does it take? What is involved in it? Where do I start? Those kind of things. And then it goes also into the weeds about energy efficient measures and then also design ideas and that kind of stuff. And the questions don't stop. The ideas don't stop. The kind of things to talk about. And has been just a wonderful way to kind of engage.
Now, in your book, Supersizing Bliss, you talk about how there's an ocean of heartless, uninspired houses out there.
Yes, I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody by saying that, but it's not unreasonable to say that most of us have had not the pleasure to live in truly inspiring homes or just places, just spaces that kind of have a richness to them, that have the capacity to lift us up, that can bring happiness to us. Most of the houses we get to choose from are created from a industrial apparatus, fast builders, money at interest. They're producing thousands of homes every year, and they're all about making money, making a profit. They don't have necessarily the homeowners at heart or in their interest. And so those are the homes that we get to choose from, or those are really the sort of pieces that fall off at the end of a production line, and we're trying to make a home out of them. And so, yeah, for as far as I'm concerned, they are heartless. I think in the book I call them carcasses of industrial thrift, and for the most part, I think that's what they are.
Well, the conventional wisdom, Toby, for people considering buying a house is that to do something custom is going to be very expensive and time-consuming. And in your book, you give people tips on how to make that faster and more reasonable cost.
Yeah, I mean, so I do say also in the book, and I agree with that for the most part, that when you do create a custom home for yourself, it does take longer and it does cost more than what the real estate market is suggesting. And so what I'm trying to lay out in the book and with my conversations with my clients is that everybody comes with a budget and everybody has a wish list of things and ideas and programmatic issues that they want to address and have met. And the job of any good designer, any good architect is to kind of bring them together. It started actually with my video series, but I put it into the book. I make the comparison between a school bus and a Maserati, and that they are actually, you can buy them for the same price. They cost the same sticker price, but the square foot price is markedly different. And so the square foot price for the school bus that is that much larger is much better, much more affordable, it seems like, than the Maserati, even though the sticker price is the same. And I'm trying to make the point is if you're asking for certain qualities in your homes, ask for those and match that with the budget and ask for that Maserati instead of the school bus. You know, I mean, who wants to drive a school bus if it's you and your spouse or whatever it is?
I know, I don't want to live in a school bus, that's for sure.
That's right.
Toby, what's the biggest mistake people make when designing a house or thinking about designing a house?
The biggest mistake, I think, is that they're asking for the wrong questions. We're sort of conditioned to ask about square foot price, for instance. We're conditioned to ask for more square feet as if that sort of brings us happiness or enriches our life. And what I'm trying to allow my clients to ask is for qualities that they might yearn for, that might enrich their living environment, the spaces they spend their time in, and then through that, then also their lives. For instance, so I try to find very specific aspects about architecture that I think have a great effect on how we experience our surroundings. And one is just the quality of space. One is the quality and the expression of the structure of the spaces we're in. I talk about texture of the materials around us, and then also about light and space. And I think those things are elements that we can actually address and change and play with. And then when we actually dive into those, they can really enrich the space that we find ourselves in. And so that we viscerally affected by the space that we find ourselves in.
When I talk to architects, they'll tell me off the record over a beer that these network shows like HGTV really do a disservice to the architecture profession because they present things that are really kind of impossible. Like they show a house being renovated in about 20 minutes and implying that it takes about 6 weeks, which it never does.
Yeah.
How do you educate your clients on what's realistic and at the same time appealing?
Yeah. I mean, that's the big, the book is one way to have a longer discussion with my clients, and then also the video series that I have. But I take my clients on a long sort of dating journey before we do anything, just for us to allow to have conversations, to explore different ways to look at homes, and for me to have a chance to share with them the richness that is afforded to them. And so I think the problem with things like the HGTV shows is that they're not about finding solutions that make the lives of my clients better. Their interest is to sell advertising, and so the shows have to be exciting. Somehow they are able to hit a nerve and get people excited to watch it, but they have nothing to do with the creation of homes in any which way. In the same way that the houses that are being built by developers and are offered to us have nothing to do with homes neither. And those have other interests at heart. And so when we have a chance to explore other things and open it up and make it sort of palatable for my clients, then they have, a great adventure to dive into. I live and breathe this stuff. And for me, I'm so deep in the rabbit hole. And for me, all of these things are accessible at my fingertips. And then my clients come to me, and for them, that's the first time they do it, most likely the only time they do something like this. And so it's my job to package what I see is out there and available and share it with them, show it to them, make them aware of them, let them sort of bathe in all of that grand, beautiful stuff that's out there. I mean, you do very much the same with the entire modernist interest and offerings you bring. And so my thinking is that I tap into exactly that same kind of mindset, and I just want to share, and offer what's out there.
So how quickly do you get a prospective client inside your house or one of the other modernist houses you've designed? Because I think that just getting both spouses in there at the same time would be critical, since typically one is a little more modernist than the other.
Yeah. Well, I find myself to be a marriage counselor every now and then.
Yeah, I bet.
I certainly have to listen to both parties or anybody that is really going to live in there. And I need to allow them to talk individually and sometimes even separate from each other and share what they're thinking, to then find a middle ground where both or everybody is happy.
Yeah, to find the bliss. You do like that word.
I do like the word. I mean, it is, if we can't be happy, if the homes we live in don't provide the opportunity for us to be truly inspired and feel happy, then what are we doing this for, right? And so that's sort of my mindset. And there is a sense for some people out there that modern architecture is cold, uninviting. And for me, of course, it's far from it. And so I like to share that if somebody says, I have a hard time understanding the sort of what's in the modernist or modern architecture, and the other party says, but I want that, then it's my job to share how the sense of home, bliss, happiness, all of that can be found in it if we just use the right kind of materials, play with light, and play with the structure, and play with the spaces and the quality of them through all of it.
Well, let's talk more about some specifics of bliss, Toby, because playing with light and playing with structure is language that architects use all the time. We mere mortals, we never say that. So I'll relate a couple things from our house, which is a modernist house, built about 12 years ago. One of the things that the architect encouraged us, which has produced lots of bliss, is that we have minimized the storage inside the house. And you might think that's a bad thing, but actually it keeps us from being hoarders. So
Yes.
we have a storage area in the garage, which is unheated, which everything has got to go out there that we don't use. And it's made an incredible difference in how much stuff we have inside the house and also on our overall consumption. So that little tip by itself has produced quite a bit of happiness in the house. Another thing that we learned from is that you don't have to have super expensive appliances in a house if you don't want to and still have it look quite good. For instance, we found out that you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot when they're having one of their big sales, order all your appliances one time, and you can take up to a year for delivery.
Really?
So we found the best deals possible, saved a boatload of money, and then 9 months later had them deliver all the appliances. It was fantastic. But I want to hear more about these kinds of practical things from you, Toby.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one you talked about, I write about in the book as well. I went through the same thing. I got the pleasure of designing and building our own home, and we had to throw out a million things that we have accumulated over the years. And the process of it was it just eased up for us. There was just a boulder taken off our shoulders, just getting rid of all of these things. And exactly what you said, if we are mindful about the storage, the built-ins we create, and making those size to our actual needs and what we do, and don't add extra storage, then we don't add things we don't need. And the part about what you said about the appliances is absolutely true. I mean, there's been plenty of instances in the designs of my homes where we have absolutely exquisite, very expensive material right next to a light fixture from IKEA, let's say, simply because each of those pieces was selected to what it needed to do, irrespective of what the cost was. And so that's with that mindset, you can really address the cost of the construction and place the funds in the right places. Good design has to be poetic, has to be innovative.
But Toby, when people hear those words, they just are counting the dollars. I mean, they're just thinking innovation means another $200,000. So how do you communicate this in a way that they don't see a huge price tag?
The way I put it is that our job is to allocate the funds that any of my clients bring to the table to the things that actually matter. And so if you can eat 3, 4, 5 fast food meals in a day, or make the choice of spending the same money on one meal that's made with real nutritious food and with a caring hand and a loving eye, I think it is my job to share with my clients that you have the money, you have the budget. Let's make sure we spend it on things that actually matter. Not everything has to be more expensive. That's what we are asked to do. How can we create this home that we're craving for, that you're craving for, with the resources that we have for the budget that you come with? If it means, for instance, that we cut out a bonus room that nobody uses, or the storage space that we just fill up with things that we shouldn't be spending money on in the first place, but it allows us to take that budget and spend it in other elements that actually do make a difference, then we're a step ahead.
One of the questions I get asked all the time is, why should I hire an architect? I mean, why should I spend all that extra money? And my answer to people is, let's say you want to build a house and you think you need about 3,200 square feet because every house that you've toured that has been about that size you've liked. If you hire an architect, their whole job is to understand space and scale and structure. They can probably get you a house that lives like 3,200 square feet, but is only 2,400 square feet. And it's going to be, of course, a lot less expensive to build. And that's how you're going to come out way ahead with an architect. And once people hear it that way, they go, oh, well, of course, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I love to tell the story of my own home. So we are a family of 5. My wife and I, we have 3 daughters, teenage daughters, and our home is 1,700 square feet.
Wow.
But it is tremendously spacious in there. Each of the children have their own big room. We have really a lot of large open spaces, and we have spaces that work and for what we need them to do. In the book, I'm sharing the story about that during the pandemic, we all realized that we hated essentially living in our homes. I mean, suddenly the numbers of additions and upfits skyrocketed. Everybody was calling builder and architect. We need to make changes. This is not working. Divorces skyrocketed too during the pandemic.
Yep.
So we all figured out, this is not working. And the home that we stayed in our own home, we were cooped up there. I mean, 5 people in 1,700 square feet, teenagers, and it worked. Everybody had places so that they can hide, where we can hide from each other. We had places where we can commune and be together. And at no point is any of these spaces within the home felt they crammed or somehow like a prison cell or any of that sort. And so it's an easy way for me to share the home, share our life there with my clients and say, hey, I'm not asking you to live in 1,700 square feet. Let's figure out what it is you need. But I am certain that it can be way smaller than what people tell you and feel that much larger if you just design it right.
So maybe not start out with a square foot number, but think about what you need and then back into the number you wind up at.
Exactly. I mean, I spent way too much paper in my book about debunking the square foot number as anything that we should cover or that has any implication of the value of our home. For some reason, we have been sort of taught and trained to value our home by the square foot number.
Well, it's the lowest common denominator, really.
The lowest it is, yeah. And so the more square feet I have, the more better my home clearly must be, while the opposite is true. I think that each task that we're doing in our home, any aspect of our life that happens in our homes, they certainly need a certain sort of space and certain expanse to work in properly and feel right. But the house will size itself automatically. But whether it is so many square feet, so many square meters, square inches, whatever you might sort of abstractly throw at it, it doesn't make any sense. It has no value by what the home actually brings to you. And so I try to really divorce our understanding of our home, the value we see in our homes, from the ridiculous number of square feet. Hardly matters to what the quality of the home is, how many square feet it has.
As you think about what you want to do in 2024, get the book Supersizing Bliss, How We Have Betrayed Our Homes and the Happiness We Seek. Thanks so much for joining us, Toby.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
That was author and architect Toby Witte.
Southern California native Michael Sinatra is a Las Vegas-based jazz singer and musician who performs standards from the Great American Songbook, Rat Pack favorites, and more. His album Standards 2 dropped in 2022, and in 2023 he's got a new Christmas album we'll hear from today. Although no relation to old Blue Eyes Frank Sinatra, Michael performs in Las Vegas with an act called Sinatra Sings Sinatra, a tribute to Frank Sinatra. Welcome back, Michael.
Hey, thanks for having me. I feel honored.
We had a fun experience with Michael last February in Palm Springs. One of the people on our trip hired a Sinatra-type singer to come from Las Vegas to our hotel to surprise her husband.
On his birthday.
Yes. And this guy came into the room, and it was Michael. It was like, hey, we know you.
Right. He said, hi, I'm Michael. And we wait a second.
Surprise.
Because we talked to you last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a real Sinatra, and it happened to be me.
Yep. You did great.
Yeah, it really was fantastic.
That was really fun. It was really, yeah. It's a blast. Every once in a while, I get the chance to go to Palm Springs, and that vibe over there, the Sinatra vibe, is really heavy. And there's a lot of people that they want that kind of entertainment. And it was fun to be able to do that.
You got to get yourself booked into the Purple Room over there in Palm Springs.
Oh, yeah.
That is the place to go with what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a nice place. I've been by there. There's a lot of nice little places around, hidden gems.
We learned in talking to some old-timers in Palm Springs that back in the day, There were 20, 50 clubs in Palm Springs that all closed down over the years now, except for just really 2 or 3 that are left.
Yeah.
Now, for a lot of us, Michael, Christmas season is also jazz season. The two just go together. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. There's something about Christmas and the music. So Christmas to me brings me back to my childhood. My mom was really into Christmas. I mean, she pretty much kept her tree up all year long.
Oh, no.
And
really?
My parents, they were musicians. So my mom was always into music and singing in church and all that. But yeah, for some reason, those two marry together very well. And you can do jazz versions of them or traditional. They just seem to go well together.
One famous song that has been made into all kinds of versions. I think there's a country version, jazz version. I think there's even a reggae version I've heard. Is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, written by Fred Coots and Haven Gillespie. When it was played on the radio in 1934, 500,000 copies of sheet music.
Wow.
And more than 30,000 records were sold within 24 hours.
That's like gold certification for sheet music.
Yeah.
Wow.
The song has been recorded by over 200 artists, including Bing Crosby, the Andrews Sisters, Neil Diamond, the Carpenters, Fred Astaire, Bruce Springsteen, Bill Evans, Chris Isaak, the Temptations, Michael Bublé, and the Jackson 5. In 1970, Rankin Bass produced Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the TV show, an incredibly beloved animated show based on the song, with Fred Astaire narrating the origin of Santa Claus. But in 1975, it was Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band who released their own definitive version that has become a huge Springsteen concert favorite during the holidays.
We should also credit that they used the Jackson 5's arrangement.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they were the first ones that reworked the melody that way.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Well, now, rocking the North Pole, here's Michael with Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm gonna tell you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice, gonna find out who's a naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Sees you when you're sleeping, knows when you're awake, knows if you've been bad or good, so be good, for goodness sake. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm gonna tell you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better watch out, better not cry, better not pout, I'm gonna tell you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice, he's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Sees you when you're sleeping, knows when you're awake, knows if you've been bad or good, so be good, for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm gonna tell you why. Santa Claus is coming, Santa Claus is coming, Santa Claus is coming to town.
That is a great crew you've got backing you up. Who are they?
Oh, okay. So that was recorded during the pandemic. So I never saw them.
Oh, no. Everybody was separate?
Yeah, it started with the piano arrangement. And then from there, we just added on layers of like upright bass, drums, and then the saxophone. The saxophonist, his name is Art. I never met him. He's in a different country. And he's done most of the saxophone work on my albums. And he's playing on that track. I think he's dubbing like a few different saxophones and then layered them all on top of each other.
Wow. The thing about the Santa Claus is coming to town is as a parent, it's the only power you have over your children at a certain age in the couple of weeks before Christmas. Because as I'm sure you know, kids are kind of nuts. And the only thing you can hold over them is Santa Claus knows if you're being good or
right?
not. Yeah. It only works for a while.
That's right. So I have 4 kids, and I only have one left that will still believe in Santa. He's 8.
Okay. Well, enjoy it while it lasts.
Everybody else grew out of it.
We used to have Santa watching us. Now it's the internet, so different kind of.
No, but you were mentioning the Rankin and Bass. Now,
Yeah.
So that was my childhood. So I was born in '74. So I was a real kid when those came out, and I remember eating those up and watching those all the time. And I actually own those on DVD. Like I hold the whole set of them.
Oh, wow.
Those are fabulous.
And I believe a couple of years ago, there was a huge outcry when they were not going to run them one year, and people just protested so loudly, they finally did put them on.
Yeah, I mean, that brings me back to my childhood, just putting those on, because the music on there is fabulous, everything, the performances, the actors, and it was great.
Well, speaking of classics, I'm wondering, Michael, what do you think are the classics that have been written in the last 30 years that we're going to be singing for the next 60? I wanted to get your opinion of All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Oh, Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
I guess it's not in your repertoire.
No, but it's the most popular. It is the most popular song, and she makes a lot of money on that song. I mean, that's her most famous song.
Yeah.
And it's the most streamed. I think it's the most streamed song. I'm not sure, but it's got to be up there. But yeah, that one. So my daughter's 12. I mean, she's a Swiftie right now, but during Christmas time, she always requests me to play that Mariah Carey song all the time.
Excuse me for my ignorance, but does Taylor Swift have Christmas songs? She must.
Oh, yes. She's covered the classics. She has a Christmas album.
Okay.
Definitely.
She's no dummy.
I would think if Taylor Swift issued an original Christmas song, though, it would go to the top of the charts quickly.
If it was a good song.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Bublé, he went into that direction, like the Bing Crosby and all the Christmas albums. He's got classic albums that's already been out like 10 years. I think he just celebrated his 10th Christmas album, 10 years already.
Okay.
And that one's really good.
This next song was written in 1943 by Hugh Martin and Ralph Blaine and was introduced by Judy Garland in the 1944 MGM musical Meet Me in St. Louis. In a scene set on Christmas Eve, Judy Garland's character sings the song to cheer up her despondent 5-year-old sister, Tootie, played by Margaret O'Brien. In 1957, Frank Sinatra approached Hugh Martin to spruce up the lyrics, which were kind of depressing, and the current standard was set. It's been covered by Michael Bublé, Sam Smith, Josh Groban, and John Legend, who most recently took it to #1 on the U.S. adult charts. Here's Michael with Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star upon the highest bough, so have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Michael.
That one was actually recorded, one of my first Christmas songs I ever recorded. So since I'm putting out like kind of like a best of with some new songs, I thought I'd re-release that. It was actually done in person. So the pianist on there, her name is Akane, and she's a phenomenal Japanese pianist, and she was amazing. She is amazing, and we did that together. So I was in a vocal booth, but she was just outside, so we had eye-to-eye contact.
Oh, that must be neat.
I had her in my headphones, so it's all done together. So there was no click track. It was just free form, just done nice and smooth. And
the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. It wasn't Christmas time, but we tried to set the mood. I might have been wearing like a Christmas sweater or something like that. But did you know that Judy Garland, she didn't like that song?
Really?
Originally there was different lyrics, and she hated it, and she refused to sing it. And I think they did change up the lyrics a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's what Frank Sinatra asked them to do that.
Yeah, because it was depressing.
Because she was scared, like she didn't want to sing it because the young actress in that scene, she thought she'd scare her or make her cry. And it was too depressing. So they did switch up the lyrics a little bit for the movie, and then she did end up singing it. But it is kind of a sad Christmas song, you know.
Well, it was.
Yeah.
But now it's sweet.
Now it's sweet and wholesome.
Right.
Now that everybody has done it. Yeah. No, but every time you hear that song, no matter who's covering it, it does bring something warm to your feelings in your heart, you know. So
yeah,
it's very nice.
Michael, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and we hope to see you again in person soon.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. It's been wonderful.
For over a decade, Peter Lamb and the Wolves have been playing jazz together, bringing joy to North Carolina audiences as one of the best jazz groups in the state. Besides performing, each band member also writes and arranges music, adding to their playful repertoire from video games to movie themes to innovative originals, and everyone teaches music too. I've attended several of their awesome backyard holiday concerts every year, and Peter Lamb is here with some of those special recordings. Welcome back, Peter.
Thanks, George. Thanks for having me.
You've got a new Christmas album coming out, but we're going to have to wait until 2024 to hear it.
Yes.
So for next Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's for next Christmas, yes. I'm sorry about that. But we're recording it in this amazing new studio, and the gentleman who is running the studio is having his mother is a little under the weather, so he's going to have to push back the date of our recording session. So it'll probably be recorded in January after Christmas to come out the following Christmas, which is the 2024.
So we have something to look forward to already.
Yes, you do.
This next song, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, was written for the still wildly popular 1966 animated special, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. With words by Dr. Seuss and music by Albert Haig, the song was performed by someone I'd never heard of, Thurl Ravenscroft.
Huh.
However, the singer is frequently listed wrongly as Boris Karloff.
Oh, that's not his voice, huh?
Famed for portraying Frankenstein and other monsters in 1930s films. Karloff served as narrator and the voice of the Grinch, and he won a Grammy for it. Jim Carrey voiced the Grinch in the year 2000 movie, but it's Mark Wells you'll hear now in You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Oh, your brain is full of spiders. You got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with a 99 and 1/2 foot pole. Come on. Mr. Grinch. You really are healed. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're bad banana with a greasy black peel. Oh, you're mean one, Mr. Grinch. Oh, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
What's his name again? The singer?
Mark Wells.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. He's great.
He really is.
Peter, during the pandemic, you guys started doing something really cool, these backyard holiday concerts.
That's right.
Tell me about them.
So it originated because we had a yearly standing gig at the History Museum in North Carolina here, and it stopped in 2020 because of the pandemic. But they still wanted to have some kind of a party for the people who would come, and they hired us to record the first one. They paid for it. And basically we put on this small show in my backyard with my trio, Mark, George, and I. And my friend Wayne filmed it and recorded it, and it was given to the History Museum for their patrons. And after the party that happened virtually, they said that we could put it out there in the world, and we did, and everybody seemed to like it. So it became kind of a tradition to do it every year, and it started in 2020.
And it's pretty fabulous. I mean, your backyard fills up and people bring their lawn chairs.
That's right. We make chili.
And their lights above us all strung across the yard.
I wear a really, really ridiculous Christmas suit. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And the videos are online. A lot of my fans during Christmas time or holiday time like to put them on in the background when they have dinner or opening presents and stuff. It's a great way to experience the holidays.
It's a new Christmas tradition, like watching A Christmas Story on TV.
That's exactly right. And I really appreciate that.
I guess your backyard's bigger than mine.
It's not that big.
It holds a lot of people, though.
It does. I only live on a quarter acre, so it's
all right.
Normal, I would say.
You can pack them in. You have to step over all the cables that are running out to the band.
Right.
That's right.
And avoid the chili coming out of the back door from the kitchen.
Oh.
But,
yeah, we feed everybody. Yeah.
Oh.
And we also, after the show, we always roast chestnuts on an open fire. So,
there you go.
It's the real deal.
Yeah. And Mark Wells nips at your nose.
And George nips at your toes.
Ooh. Ooh, yeah, really.
Yeah, really. So what am I saying?
This next song you all know, Silent Night, is a German Christmas carol composed in 1818 by Franz Xavier Gruber and Joseph Mohr. I think Gruber is related to the Die Hard villain, Hans Gruber.
That's good pronunciation,
Yeah.
Yes.
In 1859, the Episcopal priest John Freeman Young in New York wrote and published the English translation, most frequently sung today. And it was first recorded in 1905. In Salzburg, Austria, there's even a Silent Night museum. Here's Peter Lamb and the Wolves with Silent Night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm and all is brown young virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly
amazing, isn't he?
He is. Got a little mini Pearl stepping out there.
Oh my goodness, it's like ridiculous. He's so
That's
ridiculous.
Some awesome breath control.
I mean, it's just stupid. He's always like that too. It's like after 16 years of playing together, I can't get over it.
Peter, I was listening to your 2021 Bond Brothers album and realized it's a volume 1. Is there a volume 2 coming?
Yes, but it isn't necessarily my album. It will be Bond Brothers that's putting it out. So they're going to do that with different acts that play there. I will be on volume 2. I think it's going to be the best of.
Okay.
And I'll be on one of the tracks, but it will be multiple bands.
And when does that happen? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably soon. He's working on it.
We will look forward to that.
Thank you.
Peter Lamb and the Wolves, one of the 2 albums that I own at home now that I am returning to vinyl after a long absence. Thanks so much for joining us, Peter. Happy Christmas.
George, thanks so much for everything, man.
Thanks for listening. U.S. Modernist Radio is underwritten by Diane Bald and the Budman family, restoring significant architecture in Los Angeles, Toronto, Palm Springs, and Malibu. Okay, Tom, take us out.
Visit usmodernist.org's massive archives to listen to past shows, discover documentation of 20,000 significant modernist houses, and access 4.2 million pages of classic 20th century architecture magazines. U.S. Modernist Radio is produced by Soundtracks Recording Studios in Raleigh, North Carolina. Our theme song was performed by George Smart and Robinson Earl, with guest research by Kelly Policelli. U.S. Modernist Radio is a production of Modernist Archive Incorporated, a nonprofit educational archive for the documentation, preservation, and promotion of modernist residential design. I'm Tom Guild. George and I'll be back in the new year with another blissful edition of U.S. Modernist Radio.
Happy holidays, everyone.